Over the past several weeks, we've been reflecting on the power of words. Words that shape us, words that wound us, words that direct our lives. And this week, we turn to a different kind of word, words that encourage us, and words that give life. Because the way we speak to one another, or even choose to remain silent, creates an atmosphere around us. I remember growing up, bringing home report cards from school. And in spite of my grades being consistently very good, I remember there was often not much praise from my father. That was just the way it was. And I suspect for many fathers of that generation, encouragement did not always come easily or naturally. I never doubted that my father loved me. I just wanted to be affirmed. I think that's true for all of us at different points in our life. We want to be seen. We want to be noticed. We want to receive approval. Because deep down, we all hunger to know that we matter. And sometimes that deep desire to matter can distort the way we relate to others. For years, when I golfed with my brothers, our whole dynamic was built around competition and sarcasm. If somebody hit a bad shot, a snide comment soon followed. I jokingly referred to that as our love language. But if we're not careful, we can slowly get used to ways of speaking that diminish people and not even realize it. Not just on a golf course, but at work, online, in our communities, and even in our families. Studies suggest that many people experience environments where criticism greatly outweighs encouragement, sometimes by a ratio as high as 6-to-1. 6 negative comments for every positive comment. If that's true, that helps to explain why so many people are discouraged or exhausted. Samuel Truett Cathy, the founder of Chick-fil-A restaurants, he once said, "How do you know that someone needs encouragement? If they are breathing." Deep down, we're not made merely to survive one another or ruthlessly compete with one another. We were made for something greater because we were made in the image and likeness of God. And today on Trinity Sunday, we're reminded who that God is. Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. One God whose very nature is perfect communion, a life of eternal self-giving love. And today's readings show us how that love speaks to us. In Exodus, God introduces himself to Moses as the Lord, the God who is merciful and gracious, slow to anger, rich in kindness. That's who God is. And in the Gospel of John, we hear the familiar words, God so loved the world that he gave his only Son, a Son sent not to condemn the world, but the world might be saved through him. Such is the heart of God. Not a God eager to diminish his people, not a God who's looking to keep score, not a God who's looking for reasons to push people down, but a God who gives life, who lifts people up, who restores, who saves. And because we're made in the image and likeness of this God, we're meant to reflect that same gift, life-giving love in the way we relate to others. Father Ronald Rolheiser, a spiritual writer, speaks about this type of self-giving love in one of my favorite books, The Sacred Fire. He says that one of the signs of spiritual maturity is the ability to bless others and the world. And by blessing, he means something more than what usually comes to mind. He explains that to bless another person is to help them experience that their life matters, to really see them, not merely notice them or tolerate them, to take delight in them, to let what is good in them bring you joy, to communicate by your words and attitude, or even your body language, that it is good that you are here. To see another person the way God saw creation and called it good. And Rolheiser says the opposite of blessing is not merely withholding praise, it's approaching people with the attitude, I'm not interested in you, I wish you weren't here. Not always spoken out loud, but communicated through impatience, sarcasm, criticism, or even indifference. All of us know what that feels like to be diminished by that. But most of us have also known people whose very presence blesses us, people who leave us feeling stronger, safer, seen, people who make us feel that we matter. I see that spirit in my daughter and in my sister, in the way they encourage their children and their students. We all need people who help call forth life in us instead of draining it away. And that's the kind of presence we're called to be for one another. And when we do that, we're doing something much deeper than simply being nice. We are acting like God. We are reflecting His very nature, a God whose very life is self-giving love. And St. Paul says in the second reading, encourage one another, because people carry discouragement everywhere, even within themselves. And our words have the power either to reinforce that discouragement or to help lift someone out of it, to help remind them of who they are. At the baptism of Jesus, the Father says, "This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased." And through Christ, God calls all of us His beloved sons and daughters, made in His image. And this week, let's help others see that too. A word of encouragement, a little more patience, a sincere compliment, conversation, a decision not to join in criticism or sarcasm. Simple things, but life-giving things. And when we do that, when we help another person believe it is good that you are here, we are doing something holy. We are participating in the life of God. And that is more than words. That is grace.